Have you ever walked into a room in your own home, perhaps the very place where you keep a statue or an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and felt a strange heaviness instead of peace? You look at her face, sculpted in plaster or painted on canvas, and you expect to feel that maternal warmth, that immediate connection to heaven that the saints talk about. But instead, there is a coldness. There is a silence that does not feel like the silence of God, but rather the silence of an empty room. You light a candle, you say the words of the Hail Mary, but your mind is scattered, your heart feels dry, and you wonder if your prayers are simply hitting the ceiling and falling back down to the floor. You might think this is just distraction, you might think you are just tired, but what if I told you that the problem isn't always in your head? What if the problem is right there, sitting on the shelf, sharing the space with the Mother of God? We often treat our homes like storage units for our lives, placing the holy alongside the profane, mixing the sacred with the trivial, without realizing that we are creating a spiritual contradiction. We place the image of the Queen of Angels in a spot that we have unknowingly cluttered with things that offend the very spirit of prayer she represents. I'm not talking about dust or physical dirt, though reverence requires cleanliness. I am talking about objects that carry a weight, a meaning, and a distraction that actively fights against the grace you are trying to invite into your life. You are asking for peace, but you have surrounded the source of peace with symbols of noise, vanity, and confusion. You are inviting the Queen to sit on a throne, but you have placed obstacles at her feet that make it impossible for your soul to rest in her presence. There is a reason why the great mystics, including the Holy Padre Pio of Pietrelcina, were so incredibly particular about the environment in which they prayed. Padre Pio did not leave written rules about household objects, but he taught spiritual principles that apply directly to how we order our homes before God. They understood something that we, in our modern, cluttered, chaotic lives, have completely forgotten. They understood that our physical environment is a mirror of our spiritual interior. And when we place certain things next to holy images, we are making a statement to God. We are saying, I want you, but I also want this. We are demonstrating a divided heart, and a divided heart is a playground for the enemy. You might be thinking, it's just a shelf, it's just a table. But to the eyes of faith, there is no such thing as just a physical arrangement. Everything speaks. Everything has a language. And right now, your home altar might be screaming a message that is blocking the very blessings you are on your knees begging for. Saint Padre Pio did not leave written rules or explicit instructions about the physical arrangement of household prayer spaces. What follows is not a list of commands attributed directly to him, but an application of the spiritual principles he lived by and taught: reverence, interior order, detachment from worldly distractions, and exclusive trust in God, applied to the modern Catholic home in continuity with the Church's tradition. Saint Padre Pio was a man who lived with one foot on earth and one foot in heaven. He saw the spiritual reality overlaying the physical world as clearly as you see the screen in front of you right now. He knew that the devil does not always enter a life with a grand explosion or a terrifying manifestation. The enemy is far too subtle for that. He prefers to enter through the slow accumulation of disorder. He prefers to hide in the clutter of our attachments. He prefers when we treat the holy things of God with a casual familiarity that borders on disrespect. When we place the Virgin Mary, the vessel of the Incarnation, the terror of demons, the masterpiece of creation, next to items that celebrate the world, the flesh, and the devil, we are not just decorating. We are engaging in a spiritual battle without even putting on our armor. We are lowering our defenses. In this video, we are going to explore three specific types of things, three spiritual categories of objects that you must never, ever place near an icon of the Virgin Mary if you wish to maintain a home of peace and spiritual authority. These are not arbitrary rules of interior design. These are profound spiritual principles drawn from the lived wisdom of Padre Pio and the tradition of the Church. We will look at why these items drain your spiritual focus, how they subtly invite the enemy's confusion into your family, and how removing them can almost instantly change the atmosphere of your home. This is not about superstition, this is about reverence. It is about clearing the static so you can finally hear the voice of God. Imagine for a moment that you have invited the most important guest in the world to your home, perhaps the Pope, or a king, or simply someone you deeply love and respect. You prepare the best chair for them. You make sure the lighting is right. But then, right next to their face, you place a blaring television screen showing violent news. Or you place a stack of unpaid bills and angry letters. Or perhaps you place a mirror so that when you talk to them, you are actually looking at yourself. Would this not be an insult? Would this not destroy the relationship? And yet, we do this to the Mother of God every single day. We treat the sacred corner of our home as a catch-all for our worldly anxieties. The spiritual life is fragile. It requires a protective perimeter. When we breach that perimeter with objects that contradict the holiness of Mary, we are essentially telling God that His peace is just one option among many on the menu of our lives. We are treating the sacred as a commodity, and this attitude, this subtle lack of awe, is exactly where the spiritual dryness begins. It is where the heaviness comes from. It is why you can pray a rosary and feel absolutely nothing. The environment you have created is fighting against the prayer you are reciting. The physical reality is choking the spiritual intent. This is a problem that affects millions of faithful Catholics. We buy the statues, we hang the crucifixes, we get the holy water, but we do not change the disposition of the space. We try to layer holiness on top of chaos. But grace builds on nature. It does not ignore it. If the nature of your prayer space is chaotic, worldly, or vain, grace finds a blocked path. It is like trying to grow a delicate flower in a bed of weeds. The flower might survive, but it will never thrive. It will never bloom into the fullness of beauty that God intended, and your soul, which is meant to be that garden, remains overgrown and wild. We must understand that objects are not neutral. This is a hard truth for the modern mind, which sees matter as just dead stuff. But in the Catholic worldview, and certainly in the worldview of Padre Pio, matter is significant. Matter itself is morally neutral, but our attachment to objects can become spiritually ordered or disordered, either lifting the soul toward God or anchoring it excessively to the world. Matter can be a sacramental that lifts the mind to God, or it can be a tether that binds the mind to the earth. When you place an object near a holy image, you are creating a relationship between those two things. You are creating a visual and spiritual dialogue. If you place a rosary next to the statue, the dialogue is one of prayer. If you place a smartphone next to the statue, the dialogue is one of distraction, and the louder voice always wins. The tragedy is that most people do not realize they are doing this. They think, I keep my phone there because I use an app to pray, or I keep my mirror there because the lighting is good. They justify the disorder with utility. But utility is not the highest good. Holiness is the highest good, and holiness demands a certain separation. The word holy in Hebrew, kadosh, literally means set apart. To be holy is to be separate from the common, the mundane, the profane. When we refuse to set apart our images of Mary, when we force them to mingle with the debris of our secular lives, we are stripping them of their honor in our own hearts. We are domesticating the divine, and a domesticated God, a domesticated Virgin Mary, has no power to transform us because we have reduced them to our level. Padre Pio was a man of immense, almost terrifying spiritual sensitivity. People often trembled when they entered his presence, not because he was angry, but because he was so vividly alive to the presence of God that it made their own lack of faith painfully obvious. He could read souls. He could smell the stench of sin and the sweet fragrance of virtue. There are countless testimonies of him knowing what was happening in the homes of his spiritual children miles away. He would ask someone, "Why do you keep that in your house?" He would go home and remove the occasion of sin. He knew that the home is the domestic church, and if the sanctuary of the home is polluted, the family suffers. He did not write a manual on interior decoration. You will not find a book where he lists feng shui rules for Catholics. That is not how he taught. He taught by principle, by the burning example of his own life, and by his fierce defense of the honor of God. He taught that the devil is a lion on a leash, as Saint Augustine said, but he also warned that we are the ones who step inside the circle of the leash. We are the ones who get too close. And one of the ways we step inside that circle is by lowering our guard in our own homes. We allow the atmosphere of the world to seep into our sanctuary. Padre Pio's authority on this comes from his constant battle with the demonic. He knew that the enemy hates the Virgin Mary more than any other creature. The devil fears her humility because it crushes his pride. He fears her purity because it exposes his filth. So when you set up an image of Mary in your home, you are planting a flag of victory in enemy territory. You are claiming that space for the Queen of Heaven. Do you think the enemy likes that? Do you think he stands by and applauds? No. He seeks to mock that image. He seeks to surround it with things that dilute its power. He wants you to look at Mary and think of your bank account. He wants you to look at Mary and think of your appearance. He wants to neutralize the threat. Therefore, the wisdom we are applying here is not about magic. It is not about saying, if you move this vase, you will win the lottery. That is paganism. This is about reverence. It is about aligning your physical space with the spiritual reality you claim to believe in. It's about creating a zone of silence around the holy where the devil's noise cannot penetrate. Padre Pio once said, "The devil is like a rabid dog tied to a chain. Beyond the length of the chain, he cannot seize anyone. And you keep at a distance. If you approach too near, you let yourself be caught." The items we're about to discuss are the things that shorten the distance between you and the bite of the beast. They are the things that invite the world into the sanctuary. We must approach this with a balanced mind. We are not afraid of objects. A mirror is just glass. A phone is just plastic. They have no power in themselves, but they have power over us because of what we attach to them. They have power because they capture our attention, and attention is the currency of the spiritual life. Where your attention is, there your heart is also. If your attention is split between the Virgin's eyes and a worldly distraction sitting next to her, your prayer is split, and a split prayer is a weak prayer. Padre Pio wants your prayer to be a spear of fire that pierces the heavens. He wants you to have the focus of a soldier and the love of a child. To do that, we must clear the deck. We must prepare the room. So let us look at these three categories of items. Let us examine our homes with the eyes of Padre Pio. Let us ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to us what needs to be moved, what needs to be hidden, and what needs to be thrown away. This is not about legalism. It is about love. It is about making your home a place where the Virgin Mary feels at home, where she can breathe, and where she can work the miracles of grace that she so desires to give you. The first thing you must never place in the immediate vicinity of an icon of the Virgin Mary is the screen of noise. By this, I mean the television, the computer monitor, and perhaps most dangerously, the smartphone. When these are left permanently active or prominent in the prayer space. In the modern American home, the television has become the new family altar. It is the focal point of the living room. All furniture points towards it. When we place a statue of Mary on top of the TV cabinet or right next to a large screen, we are creating a jarring spiritual dissonance. Padre Pio lived in a time before the smartphone, but he saw the beginnings of the television age, and he was deeply wary of it. Spiritual directors formed in the same ascetical tradition often warned about the constant noise introduced into the home by modern media. Not because technology is evil in itself, but because unfiltered noise suffocates silence, recollection, and prayer. Padre Pio consistently emphasized the need for interior silence and vigilance against distractions that dull the soul. When you place the image of the Immaculate Conception next to a screen that broadcasts violence, immodesty, consumerism, and bad news, you are placing the pure alongside the impure. You are forcing the Virgin to compete with the flashing lights of the world. Think of the psychological effect this has on you. You try to pray, but the black mirror of the screen is right there, a portal to a billion distractions. Even when it is off, it represents the potential for noise. It represents the marketplace. The Temple of Jerusalem had a marketplace in its outer courts, and Jesus drove it out with a whip. Why? Because you cannot turn the house of prayer into a den of thieves. The screen steals your peace, it steals your time, it steals your silence. This is the most common mistake. We want Mary to watch over us while we watch Netflix. But this is a lack of reverence. It suggests that her presence is background decor for our entertainment. If you must have a TV in the room, place the holy image in a separate area, a dedicated corner, set apart. Do not make them share the same shelf. Give the Mother of God her own space where the noise of the world does not intrude. The second thing to remove is the idol of vanity. This refers primarily to mirrors, but also to displays of personal trophies, awards, or photos that are purely about self-glorification, placed in direct competition with the holy image. A mirror reflects you. An icon reflects God. When you place a mirror directly behind or beside a statue of Mary, you are creating a visual loop where you cannot look at her without seeing yourself. Padre Pio was a champion of humility. He said, "Humility is truth. The truth is that we are nothing without God. Vanity is the lie that we are the center of the universe. The devil fell because of vanity. He fell because he loved his own beauty more than the source of beauty." When we construct a prayer corner that is actually a vanity table, we are feeding the very vice that separates us from God. Imagine kneeling to pray. You look up at the Virgin, the model of self-forgetfulness, the one who said, "Be it done unto me according to thy word." But in your peripheral vision, you catch your own reflection. You fix your hair, you check your face. In that microsecond, the prayer is broken. The ego has reasserted itself. You have turned away from heaven to look at earth. This is subtle but spiritually poisonous. It prevents the deep intimacy of prayer where the self disappears and only God remains. Furthermore, placing trophies or symbols of your own worldly achievements right next to the cross or the Virgin can be a sign of spiritual pride. It is as if we are saying, "Look at what I did, Lord," instead of, "Thank you for what you did, Lord." Keep your rewards in your office. Keep your mirrors in the bathroom or hallway. Let the prayer space be a place where you decrease so that He may increase. Let it be a place where the only face that matters is the face of Christ and His mother. The third, and perhaps most spiritually dangerous category, is the talisman of distrust. This includes any object that belongs to superstition, the occult, New Age practices, or syncretic religions, even if they are kept for good luck. I'm talking about the evil eye charms, the horseshoes, the crystals charged with energy, the dream catchers, or statues of other deities or spirits. Padre Pio was fierce on this point. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot trust in the providence of God and the protection of the Virgin Mary while simultaneously hedging your bets with a lucky charm. This is what the Bible calls double-heartedness. It is an insult to the first commandment. It is saying to Mary, I trust you, but just in case you fail, I have this crystal. Some people think it's just a decoration. It's a souvenir from my trip. But symbols have meaning. When you place a pagan symbol or a superstitious object next to the Holy Virgin, you are creating a spiritual abomination. You are mixing the cup of the Lord with the cup of demons. In line with the Church's moral teaching, penitents were often guided by confessors to renounce superstitious practices and remove objects that represented divided trust as a concrete sign of conversion and reliance on God alone. The devil loves these objects because they represent a lack of faith. They represent fear. I need this charm because I am afraid God won't protect me. That fear is the crack in the armor. By keeping these things near your holy images, you are polluting the stream of grace. You are bringing the strange fire into the sanctuary. Clear them out, burn them, break them, throw them away. Your protection is in the precious blood of Jesus, not in a piece of blue glass or a stone. Let me tell you a story about a woman, we will call her Sarah, who came to understand this reality through a difficult experience. Sarah was a devout woman, a mother of 3, who loved Padre Pio and prayed the rosary. She had a beautiful statue of Our Lady of Grace in her living room. But her home felt chaotic. Her children were constantly fighting. She suffered from unexplained anxiety, and her husband was distant. The house felt loud, even when it was quiet. She went to a priest for advice, a man who knew the spirituality of Padre Pio well. He didn't ask her about her childhood. He asked her about her home. He asked, "Describe to me where you pray." Sarah described the mantelpiece. "Well," she said, "I have the statue of Our Lady in the center. To the left, there is the big television. To the right, I have a collection of antique mirrors I inherited, and on the shelf itself, I keep a bowl of worry stones and crystals my sister gave me for energy balance." The priest smiled gently but firmly. "Sarah," he said, "you have surrounded the Queen of Peace with the noise of the world, the idol of the self, and the symbols of distrust. How can you expect peace when you have built an altar to confusion?" He advised her to do exactly what we have discussed. He told her to move the TV to a different wall, away from the statue. He told her to take down the mirrors so that when she looked at Mary, she saw only Mary. And he told her with great seriousness to get rid of the crystals. "Mary is your balance," he said. "Christ is your rock. You need no other stones." Sarah went home, and though it felt like a lot of work, she obeyed. She cleared the mantle. She threw away the energy stones. She moved the furniture. She created a space of simple, unadorned reverence. She placed fresh flowers by the statue and nothing else. That evening she knelt to pray. For the first time in years, she felt the silence settle over her like a warm blanket. The anxiety that usually tightened her chest was gone. She prayed the rosary, and the words felt heavy with meaning. Over the next few weeks, the atmosphere in the house shifted. The arguments lessened. The static was gone. It wasn't magic, it was order. She had restored the hierarchy of her home. She had given God the first place, the clean place, the undivided place. By removing the obstacles, she allowed the grace that was always there to finally flow freely. This is the invitation for you today. It is not a call to be fearful of your furniture. It is a call to be intentional with your faith. Padre Pio wants you to have a home that is a fortress against the darkness, a place where you can retreat and find the strength to face the world. But a fortress must be maintained. The walls must be checked. The breaches must be filled. Look at your prayer space today. Look at it with new eyes. Is there a screen demanding your attention? Move it. Is there a mirror feeding your vanity? Take it down. Is there a charm signaling your distrust? Throw it out. Do not be afraid to make these changes. You might feel a resistance. That is natural. The part of you that is attached to the world will fight back, but the part of you that longs for God will rejoice. Create a space of silence. Create a space of beauty. Create a space where the Virgin Mary is the undisputed Queen, surrounded only by things that speak of love, prayer, and remembrance of her Son. When you do this, you are doing more than redecorating. You are making an act of faith. You are telling the devil, you have no place here. You are telling God, I am ready to listen. I invite you right now to make a commitment. Go to your icon of Mary. Look at what surrounds her. And in the comments below, I want you to write a simple declaration of intent. Write, I choose to honor my mother. I clear the way for grace. Let this be your first step toward a home filled not with the noise of the world, but with the profound healing peace of Christ. Padre Pio is praying for you. The Virgin is waiting for you. Clear the space and let the King of Glory enter.